What is Django?
Django is a high-level Python web framework that encourages rapid development and clean, pragmatic design. It follows the MTV model template view architectural pattern and includes built-in features like an ORM, admin interface, and authentication system.
What is the Django MTV pattern?
MTV stands for Model Template View. Model defines data structure and database schema. Template handles the presentation layer. HTML view contains business logic and returns responses.
How do you create a new Django project?
Use the command Django admin start project myproject. This generates the project directory with settings.py, urls.py, wsgi.py, asgi.py, and manage.py.
How do you create a new Django app?
Run Python manage.py start app myapp, then add myapp to the installed _apps list in settings.py to register it with the project.
What is a Django model?
A Django model is a Python class that subclasses Django.db.models model. Each model maps to a single database table, and each attribute represents a database column. Example, class article, models, model title equals models.charField, max_length equals 200.
What are common Django model field types?
Common field types include charField, short text, requires max_length, text field, long text integer field, integers boolean field, true/false datetime field, date and time foreign key, many-to-one relationship many-to-many field, many-to-many relationship.
What is the Django ORM?
The Object Relational Mapper, ORM, lets you interact with the database using Python code instead of raw SQL. You use model classes and query sets like myModel.Objects.Filter, active equals true, to query, create, update, and delete records.
How do you retrieve all objects from a model?
Use the all method on the models manager. All_articles equals article.objects.all. This returns a query set containing all rows in the corresponding table.
How do you filter query sets in Django?
Use filter and exclude article.objects.filter, status equals published, article.objects.exclude, status equals draft. You can chain lookups like title__I contains equals Django, date__GTE equals some_date, and author__name equals Alice.
What is the difference between filter and get in Django ORM?
Filter returns a query set, 0 or more objects, while get returns a single object or raises exceptions, does not exist, if no match is found, multiple objects returned, if more than one match exists.
What are Django migrations?
Migrations are version-controlled changes to your database schema. Key commands: Python manage.py make migrations, creates migration files from model changes. Python manage.py migrate, applies migrations to the database. They are stored as Python files in each app's migrations/directory.
How do you roll back a migration in Django?
Specify the migration name to revert to. Python manage.py migrate myapp 0003_ previous to undo all migrations for an app. Python manage.py migrate myapp 0.
What is a Django function-based view, FBV?
A function-based view is a Python function that takes an HTTP request and returns an HTTP response. Def hello, request return HTTP response, hello, world.
What is a Django class-based view, CBV?
A class-based view subclasses Django.views, a view or a generic view. It maps HTTP methods to class methods, class article view, view def get, self, request return HTTP response, articles, use article view.as_view, in URL configuration.
What are Django generic class-based views?
Generic views handle common patterns out of the box. List view, display a list of objects. Detail view, display a single object. Create view, form to create an object. Update view, form to update an object delete view, confirm and delete an object import from Django.views.generic.
How does Django URL routing work?
URLs are mapped to views in urls.py using URL patterns. From Django.urls import path URL patterns equals path articles slash views.article_list name equals article list path articles / views.article_detail name equals article detail use include to reference other app URL configs.
What are URL path converters in Django?
Path converters capture parts of the URL as typed parameters, matches integers, matches non-empty strings, excluding slash, matches slugs, letters, numbers, hyphens, underscores, matches UUIDs.
What is the Django template language?
Django's template engine uses HTML files with special syntax, variable, output a variable, %tag %, template tags for logic, if, for, block, value of filter, apply filters like date, length. Lower templates are stored in the app's templates / directory.
What is template inheritance in Django?
Template inheritance lets you define a base template with %block %, placeholders that child templates override, %extends base.html %block content mypage, %end block %. This promotes dry, don't repeat yourself, design.
How do you pass context to a Django template?
In a view, pass a dictionary to render, def my_view, request context equals, articles, article.objects.all, return render, request, my_template.html, context, variables are then accessible as articles in the template.
What is the Django admin site?
The Django admin is an auto-generated web interface for managing your data. Register models in admin.py. From Django.contribution import admin from .models import article admin site.register, article. Access it at admin after creating a superuser with Python manage.py create superuser.
How do you customize the Django admin?
Create a model admin class article admin, admin model admin list_display equals, title, status, created, list_filter equals, status, search_fields equals, title, body, admin site.register, article admin. You can also use the @admin register, article, decorator.
What are Django forms?
Django forms handle HTML form rendering, validation, and data cleaning. Define a form class. From Django import forms class contact form, forms, form name equals forms.charfield, max_length equals 100, email equals forms.email field, use form.is_valid, to validate and form.cleaned_data to access results. What
is a Django model form?
A model form automatically creates form fields from a model, class article form, forms.modelForm class meta, model equals article fields equals, title, body, status, calling form.save, directly creates or updates the database record.
How do you handle form validation in Django?
Django provides multiple validation layers, field level, built-in validators and clean _ methods form level, override clean, for cross-field validation model level, model validators and the clean method on models errors are stored in form.errors.
What is Django middleware?
Middleware is a framework of hooks that processes requests and responses globally. Each middleware is a class with methods like __call __, process_view, and process_exception. They are defined in the middleware setting and executed in order for requests and in reverse for responses.
What are some built-in Django middleware classes?
Key built-in middleware, security middleware, HTTPS redirects, HSTS headers session middleware, session support common middleware, URL rewriting, content length CSRF view middleware, CSRF protection authentication middleware, attaches request.user message middleware, flash messages.
How does Django authentication work?
Django's Django.contribution auth provides user model, stores credentials and profile info, authenticate, verifies credentials, login/logout, manages sessions at login_acquired, decorator to protect views permission system, per object and per model permissions.
How do you create a custom user model in Django?
Subclass abstract user or abstract base user and set auth_user_model in settings. Class custom user, abstract user phone equals models.char field, max_length equals 15, blank equals true. In settings.py, auth_user_model equals myapp.custom user. Do this before the first migration.
What is the @login_required decorator?
@login_required restricts a view to authenticated users only. From Django.contribution auth.decorators import login_required at login_required. Login_URL equals /login/ def dashboard, request return render, request, dashboard.html. Unauthenticated users are redirected to the login URL.
What is CSRF protection in Django?
Django protects against cross-site request forgery attacks using a token-based system. Include %CSRF_token% in every post form. The CSRF view middleware verifies that the submitted token matches the one stored in the user's session.
What security features does Django provide?
Django includes built-in protection against CSRF, token-based form protection XSS, automatic template escaping SQL injection, parameterized ORM queries clickjacking, X-frame options middleware HTTPS, security middleware, HSTS support password hashing, PBKDF2 by default.
What are Django signals?
Signals allow decoupled components to be notified when certain actions occur. Common signals, pre_save/post_save, before/after model save pre_delete/post_delete, before/after model delete request_started/request_finished connect with that receiver, post_save, sender equals my model.
How do you create a custom Django signal?
Define and dispatch a signal. Import Django.dispatch order_completed equals Django.dispatch signal, send it, order_completed.send, sender equals self__class__. Order equals order, receive it at receiver, order_completed, def handle_order, sender, order, corg send_confirmation_email, order.
How do you serve static files in Django?
Configure in settings.py, static_URL equals stat each static files_drs equals base_dir/static. Static_root equals base_dir/static files in templates use, %load static %, and %static css/style.css%. Run Python manage.py collect static for production.
How do you handle media files, user uploads, in Django?
Configure in settings.py, media_URL equals media_root equals base_dir/media use file field or image field in models. In development, add to urls.py, URL patterns plus equals static, settings.media_URL, document_root equals settings.media_root.
What is a Django management command?
Management commands are run via manage.py. Create custom ones in myapp/management/command/mycommand.py. From django.core.management.base import base command class command. Base command help equals my custom command def handle, self, *args. Options self.stout.write, done. Run with Python manage.py my command.
What is Django REST Framework, DRF?
DRF is a powerful toolkit for building web APIs in Django. Key components, serializers, convert models to from JSON viewsets, group-related API views routers, auto-generate URL patterns authentication, token, Session, JWT Support Browsable API Web Interface for testing.
What is a DRF serializer?
A serializer converts complex data types, models, query sets, to native Python types for JSON rendering and vice versa. From REST_framework import serializers class article serializer, serializers.model serializer class meta, model equals article fields equals, ID, title, body.
What is the difference between serializer and model serializer in DRF?
Serializer requires you to define each field manually and implement create and update methods. Model serializer automatically generates fields from the model and provides default create and update implementations. It also auto-generates validators based on model constraints.
What are Django query set methods for aggregation?
Use aggregate and annotate with functions from Django.db.models. From Django.db.models import count, average, SumArticle.objects.aggregate, total equals count, ID, author.objects.annotate, number_articles equals count, article, aggregate, returns addict, annotate, adds fields to each object.
What is the Django queue object?
Queue objects enable complex lookups with or, and not operators. From Django.db.models import queue article.objects.filter, queue, status equals published, queue, author equals request.user, without queue, multiple filter, arguments are combined with and only.
What is the Django F expression?
F references a model field value directly in the database, avoiding a Python round trip. From Django.db.models import F article.objects.update, views equals F, views, +1. This performs the increment atomically in SQL, preventing race conditions.
What are Django model managers?
A manager is the interface for database query operations. The default is objects. Create custom managers for reusable queries. Class published manager, models, manager def get_queryset, self-return super, .get_queryset, .filter, status equals published, assign with published equals published manager, in your model.
What is select_related, in Django?
Select_related performs a SQL join to fetch related objects in a single query, reducing database hits for foreign key and one-to-one field relationships. Articles equals article.objects.select_related, author. .all, use prefetch_related, instead for many-to-many field and reverse relations.
What is prefetch_related, in Django?
Prefetch_related performs separate queries for each relationship and joins them in Python. Ideal for many-to-many and reverse FK relations. Authors equals author.objects.prefetch_related, articles, unlike select_related, it works with any relationship type but uses multiple queries.
What are Django context processors?
Context processors are functions that add variables to every template context automatically. They are defined in the template setting. Built-in processors include auth, adds user, request, messages, and debug. Custom example, def site_name, request return, site_name, my site.
What is Django's session framework?
Django sessions store arbitrary data per visitor on the server side. Enable via session middleware. Access in views, request.session, cart equals cart_data cart equals request.session.get, cart. Backends include database, cache, file, and cookie-based sessions.
How do you write tests in Django?
Django extends Python's unitest with test case. From Django.test import test case class article tests, test case def setup, self_article.objects.create, title equals test, def test_article_str. Self a equals article.objects.get, id equals 1, self.assert equal, str, a, test, run with Python manage.py test.
What is the Django test client?
The test client simulates HTTP requests without a running server. From Django.test import client C equals client, response equals C.get, artichlace, self.assert equal, response.status underscore code, 200. Response equals C.post, login, user, admin, pass, secret. It handles cookies, sessions, and redirects.
Which command creates a Django project and its initial app skeleton in one step? Django 1.6 Plus.
Django admin start project mysite and in cd mysite and in Django admin start app myapp. Note: manage.py is generated with the project, but apps must still be created separately and added to installed _apps.
What is the role of manage.py?
Manage.py is a thin wrapper around Django admin that sets the Django _settings module to the project settings.py. It is the recommended entry point for project-level commands like migrate, run server, and shell.
What is the purpose of wsgi.py in a Django project?
wsgi.py exposes a WSGI-compatible callable application used by production servers like Unicorn, UWSGI, or mod_whiskey. It is the entry point for synchronous request handling under WSGI.
What is the purpose of asgi.py in a Django project?
asgi.py exposes an ASGI-compatible callable for servers like Daphne or Unicorn. It enables async views, WebSockets, and long-lived connections, e.g. Django channels.
What does the settings.py file contain?
Settings.py is the central configuration module, installed _apps, middleware, databases, templates, static_URL, static_root, media_URL, media_root, allowed_hosts, secret_key, debug, use_tz, and auth/password validators.
What is the purpose of urls.py at the project level?
The project level urls.py is the root URL-conf. It usually contains URL patterns that delegate to app-level urls.py files via include. Example, path, blog/include, blog.urls.
What is the apps.py file in a Django app?
Apps.py contains the appconfig subclass for the app. It registers metadata like name and verbose_name and can run startup code in ready, e.g. registering signals.
What is tests.py used for in a Django app?
Tests.py is the conventional location for unit and integration tests. It is discovered automatically by Python manage.py test, any class subclassing unitist.testcase or django.test.testcase.
What is the default Django database backend?
By default, Django uses SQLite via the django.db.backends.sqlite3 engine. For production, common choices are PostgreSQL, MySQL, or Oracle via the django.db.backends * module.
How do you configure a PostgreSQL database in Django?
In settings.py, databases equals, default, engine, django.db.backends.postgresql, name, mydb, user, miduser, password, secret, host, localhost, port, 5432.
How do you set the time zone in Django?
Use time_zone equals Europe/Zagreb in settings.py. Also enable use_tz equals true so Django stores date times in UTC and converts on output. Language_code is a separate setting that controls translation.
What is debug mode and why should it be off in production?
Debug equals true enables detailed tracebacks and the technical 500 page. It must be false in production because it leaks settings, environment variables, and query information to anyone who triggers an error.
What does allowed_hosts do?
Allowed_hosts is a list of valid host/domain names the site can serve. Django rejects requests with an HTTP 400 if the host header is not in this list, preventing HTTP host header attacks.
How do you set the secret underscore key safely?
Secret underscore key should be loaded from an environment variable. Secret underscore key equals os.environ, Django underscore secret underscore key. It is used for signing cookies, password reset tokens, CSRF, and crypto signing. Never commit it to version control.
What is the underscore str underscore method on a model used for?
Defining underscore str self returns a human-readable string representation of a model instance. The Django admin and shell display this value, and it is used by default in model choice field.
What is the meta class inside a Django model?
The inner meta class holds model level options. Class meta, ordering equals, created, verbose underscore name equals article db underscore table equals blog underscore article unique underscore together equals, title, slug. It does not define database fields.
What does the related underscore name argument do on a foreign key?
Related underscore name equals articles sets the reverse accessor name from the related model. Without it, Django uses underscore set author.articles.all, hashtag uses related underscore name author.article underscore set.all, hashtag default.
What is the on underscore delete argument on a foreign key?
On underscore delete specifies behavior when the referenced object is deleted. Options include models.cascade, delete dependence models.protect, block deletion models.set underscore null, set fk to null, requires null equals true, models.set underscore default, set to default value models.do underscore nothing, no action, may raise integrity error.
What is the difference between null equals true and blank equals true?
Null equals true allows null at the database column level, blank equals true allows the field to be empty in forms. Common pattern, description equals models.text field, null equals true, blank equals true, for string-based fields, prefer blank equals true alone, empty string instead of null.
How do you add a database index to a model field?
Use db underscore index equals true, title equals models.char field, max underscore length equals 200, db underscore index equals true, for composite indexes use meta.indexes equals, models index, field sad face author, published.
What does meta.constraints allow?
Meta.constraints defines database level integrity rules such as models.unique constraint and models.check constraint. They run at the database layer and are enforced even when bypassing the ORM.
What is a one-to-one field in Django?
A one-to-one field represents a strict 1:1 link between two models. Common use, extending the user model with a profile, user equals models.one-to-one field, user, on underscore delete equals models.cascade, it is implemented as a unique FK.
How do you define a many-to-many relationship in Django?
Use many-to-many field on one of the models. Tags equals models.many-to-many field, tag. Django creates an auto-generated join table. You can also pass through equals through model to use a custom intermediate model with extra fields.
What is a through model in AM2M relationship?
A through model is an explicit intermediate model that stores extra fields on a many-to-many relationship, such as joined underscore at or role. It must contain two foreign keys to the participating models.
What is the difference between values and values underscore list in Django?
Values returns dictionaries of field values, values underscore list returns tuples. With flat equals true and a single field, values underscore list returns a flat list, article.objects.values underscore list, ID, flat equals true.
What does only and defer do in a query set?
Only, title, body, limits the SQL select to those fields. Defer, body, excludes fields and loads them on demand. Useful for large text field columns to avoid unnecessary I/O.
What is the difference between count and len query set?
QuerySet.count issues select count, asterisk, in the database. Len, query set, forces evaluation of the full query set and counts in Python. Always use .count for large tables.
What does exists do on a query set?
Query set.exists returns true/false by issuing a fast select 1. Limit 1. It is cheaper than len, query set, 0 or query set.count, 0 when you only need to know whether any row matches.
What is the difference between order_by and the meta.ordering attribute?
Meta.ordering equals created sets a default ordering applied automatically to every query set. Order_by title created overrides it for a specific query.
What is a subquery in Django ORM?
Use subquery from Django.db.models to embed a query set in another. Latest equals comment.objects.filter, post equals outerref pk, .order_by, created, 1, post.objects.annotate, last_comment equals subquery, latest.values, body.
What is the exists subquery expression?
Exists from Django.db.models returns a Boolean subquery used in filter, or annotate, author.objects.annotate, has_posts equals exists, post.objects.filter, author equals outerref pk. It generates a correlated exists SQL clause.
What is the n+1 query problem in Django?
It occurs when ORM code accesses related objects in a loop, triggering one extra query per parent row. Fix with select_related or prefetch_related in the initial query set.
What is the difference between .first and 0 on a query set?
.first returns none when the query set is empty. Indexing with 0 raises indexer. Prefer .first when the query set may be empty.
What is a database transaction in Django?
A transaction groups multiple SQL operations so they commit or roll back atomically. Use transaction.atomic from Django.db import transaction with transaction.atomic item.objects.create log.objects.create.
What is select_for_update used for?
Select_for_update locks the selected rows for the duration of the current transaction, row level select. For update in PostgreSQL. It prevents race conditions when reading then updating a counter or stock value.
How do you bulk create objects in Django?
Use bulk_create, article.objects.bulk_create, article, title equals a, article, title equals b. It issues a single insert and skips per row save, signals.
How do you update many records at once?
Use the query set update method, article.objects.filter, status equals draft, .update, status equals published. This runs a single update SQL statement and bypasses save, signals.
How do you delete many records at once?
Use the query set delete method, article.objects.filter, created__year equals 2024, .delete, it returns a tuple, total_deleted, model_label, count.
What is the get_or_create method?
Get_or_create, defaults equals none, corgs, returns, object, created. It looks up a record by corgs. If missing, it creates one using defaults plus corgs. Obj, created equals tag.objects.get_or_create, name equals Python.
What is the update_or_create method?
Update_or_create, defaults equals none, corgs either updates an existing record matching corgs with defaults, or creates a new one. Returns, object, created.
What are query set.union, intersection, and difference?
These set operation methods combine query sets from the same model, qs1.union, qs2, will union, distinct, qs1.intersection, qs2, will intersect qs1.difference, qs2, SQL except they require identical field lists and disable ordering.
What does reverse_lazy do and when is it used?
Reverse_lazy returns a URL string evaluated lazily. It is required when referencing URL reverses in module-level code, e.g. success_URL attributes on class-based views, signal handlers, because URLs are not loaded yet at import time.
What is the URL template tag?
%URL name arg1 arg2% resolves a named URL pattern to its path. It accepts either positional args matching path converters or keyword args, read.
What is the include template tag?
%include partials/card.html with article equals obj% renders another template inline, optionally passing context. It is the recommended way to share small reusable snippets without inheriting from a base template.
What are template filters in Django?
Filters transform template variables, name, lowercase, text, truncate words, 20, truncate, value, default, n/a, fallback value, HTML, safe, mark as safe, no escaping, date, YMD, format date you can chain them, value, lower, truncateckers 30.
How do you create a custom template filter?
Register a Python function in a template tag/module. From Django import template register equals template library at register.filter_def shout value return value.upper plus exclamation point. Load with %load myfilters% in templates.
What is the static template tag?
%load static %, then. It prepends static_URL to the relative path and applies any storage backends configured.
What is the CSRF_token template tag?
%CSRF_token% inserts a hidden input containing the CSRF token bound to the user's session. Required inside every for the CSRF view middleware to accept the submission.
What is the for loop variable in template loops?
Inside %for item and items%, the for loop object exposes for loop.counter 1 indexed count for loop.counter 0 indexed count for loop.first/ for loop.last booleans for loop.parent loop outer loop context.
What does %empty% do in a template for loop?
%empty% inside %for% renders the fallback block when the iterable is empty. %for in articles %a.title %empty%. No articles yet. %end for %.
What are template context processors?
Functions in templates.options.context_processors that inject variables into every template. Built-ins include Django.template.context_processors.request, adds request, auth, adds user and perms, and messages.
How do you register a custom context processor?
Define a function taking request and returning a dict, then add its dotted path to templates.options.context_processors in settings.py.
What is the messages framework?
Django.contribution messages is a one-time notification system. In views, messages.success, request, saved. In templates, %if messages %for m in messages %m, %end for %end if messages are stored in the session or cookie and shown once.
What is the messages framework's default storage level?
Message_storage equals Django.contribution messages.storage.session storage by default. It uses the user's session, so session middleware must be enabled. Other options include cookie-based storage.
What is a Django app and how is it different from a project?
A project is the entire Django installation, settings, root URL conf. An app is a self-contained Python package that handles a feature, blog, accounts, polls. A project contains many apps. An app can be reused across projects.
How do you reuse an app across projects?
Place the app on the Python path, add it to installed_apps, and ship its migrations / templates and static files with it. Using a custom app config in apps.py lets you encapsulate signals and ready time setup.
What is the apps.appconfig.ready method used for?
Override ready in your app config to perform import time setup, such as registering signals, connecting checks, or initializing third-party clients. It runs once when the app registry is populated.
What does request.user return when a user is anonymous?
Request.user is always populated by authentication middleware. For anonymous visitors, it returns an instance of Django.contribution.auth.models.anonymous user with is_authenticated == false and is_anonymous == true.
What is the difference between is_authenticated and is_anonymous?
Request.user.is_authenticated is true for logged-in users and false for anonymous user. Is_anonymous is the opposite. Always check is_authenticated in views. Anonymous user exists for symmetry, not for security checks.
What is the @permission_required decorator?
@permission_required app.add_article checks that request.user has the named permission. Otherwise, it returns 403 or redirects to login_URL. Permissions follow the _ convention.
What are Django groups used for?
Django.contribution.auth.models group lets you bundle permissions and assign them to multiple users at once. A user in a group inherits the group's permissions automatically.
How does Django hash passwords?
Django uses PBKDF2 plus SHA-256 by default. Django.contribution.auth.hashers.pbkdf2 password hasher, with 600,000 iterations and a per-user salt. Use user.set_password, new, and user.save, to update, never write to user.password directly.
What is the default password hasher iteration count?
Since Django 4.1, the default PBKDF2 iterations is 600,000. Tuned via the password_hashers setting. Argon 2 or BCRYPT are recommended alternatives for stronger security.
What is CSRF cookie and how is it named?
Django sets the XRF token cookie, configurable via CSRF_cookie_name. It is also exposed in the form via %CSRF_token%. The middleware compares the cookie/submitted token to the value stored in the session.
What is the allowed_hosts setting?
Allowed_hosts equals LearnCoachAssist.com, www.learncoachassist.com, restricts which host headers Django accepts. In debug equals true, it defaults to localhost 127.0.0.1:1.
What is the secure_browser_xss_filter setting?
Secure_browser_xss_filter equals true sets the XXSS protection. 1. Mode equals block response header on older browsers. Modern browsers have deprecated it, but it remains a defense in-depth measure.
What is secure_HSTS_seconds?
Secure_HSTS_seconds equals 315360000 sets the strict transport security header for 1 year, telling browsers to always use HTTPS. Requires secure_SSL_redirect equals true and HTTPS enabled infrastructure.
What is secure_content_type_nosnif?
Secure_content_type_nosnif equals true emits the X content type options, nosnif header, preventing browsers from MIME sniffing a response away from the declared content type.
What does session_cookie_age control?
Session_cookie_age equals 1209600, default 2 weeks, sets the lifetime of the session cookie in seconds. Session_expire_at_browser_close equals true makes sessions expire when the browser closes.
What is CSRF underscore cookie underscore hponly?
CSRF underscore cookie underscore hponly equals true prevents JavaScript from reading the CSRF cookie via document.cookie. The CSRF token is still submitted via form input, so this does not break forms.
What does the login required mixin do in CBVs?
From Django.contribution auth.mixins import login required mixin plus class myView, login required mixin, template view, replicates at login underscore required for class-based views. Override login underscore URL to change the redirect target.
What is user passes test mixin?
User passes test mixin calls test underscore func. If it returns false, the user is denied. Useful for custom authorization. Class staffenly, user passes test mixin def test underscore func, self returns self.request.user.is underscore staff.
What is form mixin and how is it combined with generic views?
Form mixin provides form underscore class, success underscore URL, and form underscore valid. Stack it with generic display views to add form handling, class contact form view, form mixin, template view.
What is Django's create view in detail?
Create view, from django.views.generic.edit, handles the create new object flow, get shows an empty form, post validates and saves, then redirects to success underscore URL or the new object's absolute URL via get underscore absolute underscore URL.
What is get underscore absolute underscore URL on a model?
Def get underscore absolute underscore URL, self-return reverse, article detail, corgs equals, pk, self.pk. It is used by create view and update view for the post save redirect, and by the %URL%. Tag with the model, name convention.
What does update view do?
Update view fetches an existing object by pk from the URL, populates a model form, and on post saves the changes. Override form underscore valid, to add side effects like setting updated underscore by.
What does delete view do?
Delete view shows a confirmation template, default underscore confirm underscore delete.html, and on post deletes the object. Always pair with a post form, never expose get-based deletes for security.
What is the list view paginate underscore by attribute?
Class article list view paginate underscore by equals 20. This enables pagination. The view passes page underscore obj paginator to the template, and reads the page from the d page equals query parameter.
How do you limit a query set in list view?
Override get underscore query set, class published list view def get underscore query set, self-return article.objects.filter, status equals published. This is preferred over setting query set directly when you need request-aware filtering.
What is the detail view slug underscore URL underscore quorg?
Detail view looks up the object using pk by default. Set slug underscore URL underscore quorg equals slug and slug underscore field equals slug in meta, so the URL works as the lookup key.
What is the Django.shortcuts module?
Django.shortcuts provides render, redirect, get underscore object underscore or underscore 404, and get underscore list underscore or underscore 404. They keep views short by combining common ORM and response patterns.
How does get underscore object underscore or underscore 404 differ from get?
Get underscore object underscore or underscore 404, article, pk equals 1, returns the object or raises HTTP 404. Article.objects.get, pk equals 1, raises does not exist. The shortcut is idiomatic in views because Django's 404 handler renders a friendly page.
What does redirect return?
Redirect, view name, pk equals 1, returns an HTTP response redirect, 302, to the resolved URL. You can also pass a model instance with get underscore absolute underscore URL, return redirect, article.
What is the HTTP response object?
HTTP response is the base class for all Django responses. Subclasses include JSON response, HTTP response redirect, HTTP response not found, and file response. Set status with HTTP response, status equals 418.
What is JSON response used for?
From Django.http import JSON response return JSON response, OK, true, count, 5. It sets content type, application/JSON and serializes the dict with JSON.dumps. Pass safe equals false for non-dict JSON, e.g. lists.
What is file response?
File response streams a file-like object to the client without loading it fully into memory. Return file response, open, big.pdf, RB. It is preferred for large downloads.
What is streaming HTTP response?
Streaming HTTP response accepts an iterator, e.g. generator, and streams it to the client chunk by chunk. Useful for CSV exports, SSE, or long-running server responses.
What is the proper way to return a 404 in a view?
Use raise HTTP 404, article not found, or get _object_ or _ 404, article, pk equals pk. Django's 404 handler renders the 404.html template. Custom handlers go in handler 404 in the root URL conf.
What is the 500 error handler?
Define handler 500 equals myapp.views.custom_500 in the root urls.py. The view receives request and returns an HTTP response. Avoid leaking stack traces. Django only shows them when debug equals true.
What is the @require_HTTP_ methods decorator?
At require_HTTP_ methods, get, post, rejects any other method with a 405 method not allowed. At require_get, at require_post, and at require_safe are shortcuts for get, head, and post.
What is the condition decorator?
At condition, itag_func equals, last_modified_func equals, enables HTTP conditional gets. If the client's if none match or if modified since matches, Django returns 304 not modified, saving bandwidth.
What is the never_cache decorator?
From Django.views.decorators.cache import never_cache ensures the response is not cached by browsers or intermediaries at never_cache def dashboard request. Useful for personalized or sensitive pages.
What are the @cache_page and cache_control decorators?
At cache_page, 60 by 15, caches the full view response for 15 minutes. At cache_control, public equals true, max_age equals 3600, sets cache control headers without using Django's cache backend.
What is the preview cache versus template fragment cache?
At cache_page caches the entire response. %cache 900 sidebar %end cache caches a template fragment for 15 minutes. Use the fragment cache for partial pages with mixed dynamic content.
How do you configure the cache backend?
In settings.py, caches equals, default, backend, django.core.cache.backends.redis cache, location, Redis, //127.0.0.1:6379/1. Other backends include Lockmem, DB, file-based, and memcached.
What is the low-level cache API?
From Django.core.cache import cache.set, key, value, timeout equals 300, cache.get, key, cache.get_set, key, default, 300, cache.delete, key. The default timeout is in seconds. None caches forever.
How do you cache a query set in Django?
Use cache.get_set with a string key. Articles equals cache.get_set. Articles, published, lambda, list, article.objects.filter, status equals published,
300.
What is cache invalidation?
Removing or replacing a stale cache entry. In Django, common patterns include cache.delete key after a save using a versioned key like articles, v1, and bumping the version signals to clear cache automatically on post_save/post_delete.
What does the @vary_on_ headers decorator do?
From Django.views.decorators.vary import vary_on_headers at vary_on_headers, user agent, except language, appends those names to the vary response header, telling shared caches to keep separate copies per header value.
What is the xframe_options_deny decorator?
xframe_options_deny sets xframe options, deny, preventing the page from being embedded in a frame, clickjacking protection. Variants, xframe_options_semi-origin and xframe_options_exempt.
What is the clickjacking middleware?
Django.middleware.clickjacking.xframeOptions middleware sets the xframeOptions header on responses that don't define one. Enable via middleware in settings.py.
What is the gzip middleware?
Django.middleware.gzip middleware compresses responses for browsers that send except encoding, gzip. Avoid compressing already compressed content, images, it wastes CPU.
What is conditional get middleware?
Django.middleware.http. Conditional get middleware handles etag and last modified automatically. It returns 304 not modified when the client already has the latest version, saving bandwidth.
How do you create a custom middleware?
A factory function returning a callable that wraps request, def simple_middleware, get_response def middleware, request response equals get_response, request, return response return middleware or subclass middleware mixin for the older style with process_request/process_response.
What is the order of middleware processing?
For requests, Django runs middleware top to bottom in the middleware list, each calling get_response. For responses, it unwinds in reverse order. Place security middleware and session middleware early so they apply before view logic.
What is the gzip middleware order requirement?
Gzip middleware must be near the top of the middleware list so that it compresses content produced by other middlewares and views. Common order, security middleware session middleware gzip middleware, common middleware.
How do you write a Django management command that accepts arguments?
Use add_arguments, self, parser, def add_arguments, self, parser.add_argument, name, type equals str, parser.add_argument, count, type equals int, default equals 1, access via self.corgs, name, in handle.
How do you use base command.style?
Self.stout.write, self.style.success, done, prints in green. Self.style.warning, self.style.error, and self.style.notice, colorize output. Honors no color and force color flags.
What is the base command requires _system_checks flag?
Set requires _system_checks equals false in a command to skip Django's check framework. Useful for deployment commands where running checks would be redundant.
What is the send_mail helper?
Django.core.mail.send_mail, subject, message, from_email, recipient_list, sends a single email via the SMTP backend configured by email_backend, email_host, email_port, email_host_user, and email_host_password.
What is email message versus send_mail?
Django.core.mail.email message is a class-based API supporting attachments, HTML, and multiple recipients. Message equals email message, subject, body, to sadface at example.com, message attach, report.pdf, PDF_bytes, application/PDF, message send.
What is the console email backend?
Set email_backend equals django.core.mail.backends.console.email backend to print emails to Stout during development instead of sending them. Use lockmum in tests to inspect mail.outbox.
What is the mail.outbox in tests?
With email_backend equals lockmum, Django appends every sent message to django.core.mail.mail.outbox for assertion. Self.assert equal, len, mail.outbox, 1, self.assert in, welcome, mail.outbox, 0. Subject.
What is the I18N, internationalization, workflow in Django?
Mark strings. From Django.utils.translation import getText_lazy as underscore and wrap literals, underscore, hello. Run Python manage.py make messages lhr to extract to locale/hr/lc_messages/django.pytranslate in the .py file. Run Python manage.py compile messages to produce .mo files.
What is getText_lazy versus getText?
getText_lazy returns a lazy proxy that translates when the string is rendered, e.g. in templates, avoiding translation during import. getText translates immediately. Use getText_lazy for model fields, app config, and module level strings.
How do you activate a language per request?
Django uses language_code by default. Django.middleware.locale.local middleware selects language from accept language, the session, or a cookie, language_cookie_name. Set use _I18N equals true in settings.
What is timezone.now versus datetime.now?
Django.utils.timezone.now returns an aware datetime in use_tz equals true mode, UTC, while datetime.datetime.now is naive. Always use timezone.now in models and views to avoid timezone bugs.
What is auto_now and auto_no_add?
Created equals models.datetime field, auto_now_add equals true, sets the field once on creation. Updated equals models.datetime field, auto_now equals true, updates it on every save. Both default to false for the parameter.
What is the JSON field in Django?
Models.json field stores arbitrary JSON. On Postgres it uses JONB. On MySQL 5.7 Plus and SQLite 3.38 Plus it uses native JSON. Query with key lookups, article.objects.filter, metadata_tags__ contains sadface Python.
What is a UUID field?
ID equals models.uuid field, primary_key equals true, default equals uuid.uuid4, editable equals false, stores a 128-bit UUID. Pair with a URL converter for type-safe routing. Useful when you don't want sequential, guessable primary keys.